It's your boy K-Dog here. AEW Double or Nothing. Is it getting an up or is it getting down? How well was AEW's Double or Nothing 2025? Well, let's get straight into it not straight into it. We're going straight into the pay-per-view. Did not watch the pre-show because historically from watching the AEW pre-show, just giving you context, I usually either get bored or it's like, did they really just throw some random people to have a match? So I just said, I'll turn it on because my dad will watch the pre-shows. I was like, I'll do other things. So we're going to get right into the PPV itself. Opening up with the Owen Hart Cup Finals, Women's Owen Hart Cup Finals, Mercedes Moné versus Jamie Hayter. I don't have words to what to say. What screw up? I'm going to say screw up they did here. This match was a huge screw up because it was a good match. And this is rare for me to say it because it's Mercedes Moné. Yes. I can't even. Anyways, it was a good match, but they screwed up big time by having a effing roll up. It's first of all a prestigious cup. It's a prestigious tournament, right? That's for starters. Secondly, this is the finals. Thirdly, Jamie Hayter was dominating. You don't just negate the domination by a roll-up. And even worse, it was a botched roll-up. Like, Mercedes can't even do anything right. Like, Tony, you effed up by giving her full creative control. And also, she shouldn't have won this also. But that's besides the point. This is getting a 1.75 because they ruined everything they worked for. And they ruined Jamie Hayter. Period. And please, please, please get that piece of crap Mercedes Moné off my TV soon. You better not let her win at all. Because if you do, you know you just killed the women's division forever. Anyway, moving on to the next match was FTR versus Danny Garcia and Nigel McGuinness. Garcia and Cash start, which I'm like, great. Daniel Garcia needs to start this match. Match was pretty good. Everybody got their spots in. Everybody got what they needed to get in. Everybody did what they should. You know, FTR was the FTR that we know. Danny Garcia was Danny. Nigel McGuinness was being this new kind of, if you will, savior type of character. So I liked everything they did. Excuse me about that. So I liked everything they did about it. I liked all the spots that they put in the match. Some of the false finishes were good too. Some of them were excess. I like the spot where they had with the Nigel McGuinness where he was a shatter machine. That's right. He was shatter machine onto the floor. Usually a shatter machine does not hurt. But because Nigel McGuinness had to retire due to injuries that he sustained that made him no longer be able to wrestle again, and now he just returned back last year, but he, and he doesn't really wrestle often, right? So I like the story that they told where he gets shatter machine, he's out, Tony Schiavone stands up trying to help his friend. It almost felt like me and my dad both were sitting like, oh, Tony Schiavone is going to finally snap, because for weeks and weeks and weeks we had FTR make fun of and belittle Tony Schiavone, right? So it went to a point where Tony Schiavone couldn't do anything, so Nigel McGuinness stepped in. So me and my dad thought, oh, this is the perfect time to have Tony Schiavone finally snap and do something. Nope. Missed opportunity, AEW. But I'm not holding it against them because the winners, FTR, which I get it. Danny Garcia should have won, but I get where they're going with the winner of FTR. So it's getting a 3.25 stars, which is good. And then we had Mark Briscoe versus Ricochet. Does Tony Khan know the difference between a stretcher match and an ambulance match? Because what we had was an ambulance match. What they advertised was a stretcher match. For anybody at home that doesn't know, a stretcher match is there is a stretcher at the ringside. So picture this. Here's the start of the ramp. Stretcher is laying there this way. Okay, so you got to put them on the stretcher, carry them all the way on the stretcher to the top of the stage. And then once you carry them to the top of the stage, then you got to pull them all the way to the back. Not to the backstage, but just to the entrance of where you go, right at the entrance of the gorilla position, if you will. Then you win. That's a stretcher match. An ambulance match is put your opponent in an ambulance and close the door completely and lock it. Tony doesn't know the difference, but the match gets a 3-star. It was an average match because I was going to give this match a 3.25, but I'm like, no, you're going to lose 2.5 stars. Why are you losing 2.5 stars? Because one reason only, because it is not, and I repeat, this is not an ambulance match. This was advertised as a stretcher match, but you gave us an ambulance match. Anyways, it was a very violent match, though. I'm going to say that. Mark Briscoe ended up, like, dripping crimson mask, like, blood like crazy. And I'm like, ugh. It was like, whoa. You know, there was a moment in the match where it looked like a botch almost. I'm not highly sure if it was a botch or not, but when Mark Briscoe was going for the froggy bow onto Ricochet on the table, where Ricochet was laying on the table, Briscoe was supposed to do the froggy bow, but instead of hitting Ricochet, which I get it for safety, but he put himself through the table instead of putting the pressure of both of them. So I was like, is that a botch or I don't know, but I'm not. Anyway, the match was funny. And Ricochet wins with 2 scissors. I was like, should have been Briscoe. But hey, they're building Ricochet. I'm sorry. When you make a mistake, anyways. Next was the AEW Tag Team titles. We had Sons of Texas, Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara versus Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley of the Hurt Syndicate. Now, I wish the ROH tag titles were on the line as well, but I get it. You don't want to double champ it up. Fine. But anyways, match, Lashley and Dustin start, which I was a perfect 2 starters. I like this start. I did not want Sammy Guevara to start. I wouldn't have minded Shelton, but I definitely wanted Sammy Guevara to be like the first tag in when needed, not the starter. Lashley was a perfect starter. Match went everywhere. Everybody showed their spots. Everybody did their moves. I like the moment where at one point MVP was trying to distract the referee so that the Hurt Syndicate can kind of cheat, but instead Dustin hit the unnatural kick. And MVP was like, hey, MJF, come. Just relax. I also like the moments where he tried to, with Bobby Lashley, he tried to tell him, hey, I got this with the ring, trying to hand Shelton the ring and say cheat. And then the ref sees it. He told Lashley, hey, don't worry, I'm going to use this. And Lashley looks over at him and he puts him aside. That's when me and my dad were like, uh-oh, is there already friction? Are they already going to... No. Lashley tells him, I got this. Spear to Dustin Rhodes onto the barricade. And I was like, whoa. And they're laughing, they're smiling, they're hugging. And I'm like, I guess there ain't no friction. But I guarantee you in the future, in the nearest of futures, there will be friction. Not between the Hurt Syndicate and MJF, but between Bobby Lashley and MJF, which then will cause MVP to get pissed off at him, which then will cause Shelton Benjamin to just walk away. That's what I think. Anyways, but then at the end of it, you got the pin. Shelton hits the pin. 1, 2, 3. Retain. We hurt. people. We hurt people. Anyway, next match we had the AEW Continental. Oh, by the way, that match 3-star average. So far, this pay-per-view has felt average to me. So far, AEW Continental title. We had Mike Bailey versus Okada. Okada hits a drop. There wasn't really anything special going on in this match. It's a 3-star. But the highlight was Okada hitting a drop kick as Mike Bailey's jumping off the top rope, hits a Rainmaker, 1, 2, 3. There wasn't really much highlights. It was like, again, I want to talk great about this match because I like Kazuchika Okada. I enjoy watching Speedball Mike Bailey because I've watched Speedball Mike Bailey in my own home. Well, yes, he's from Montreal, but I'm not from Montreal. We're from Toronto for anyone who didn't know. But he would wrestle a lot in the Toronto independent scene, more than in Montreal anyways. But he would be in a lot of it, so I'd watch him. I enjoyed watching him. I enjoy watching him on TNA. And I enjoy watching Kazuchika Okada in New Japan. And this match just felt average. It was nothing. So, next we had the women's world title. Mina Shirakawa versus Toni Storm. Match, everybody got their spots in. Everybody did what they needed to do. They all got great moves. Mina at one point when Luther got in her way, low blow Luther, jump over Luther, dive on Luther, and I was like, yo, this is funny. Luther's a punching bag. Tony got pissed about that. Tony gets some crazy moves in. Mina gets her moves in. Everybody was like shining bright like a like a diamond almost. You could say that. Yeah. We could go there. We'll go there. Near the end, there was a roll-up battle, back and forth, and I was like, this is funny. This is great. And then get up. Mina's about to hit the finish. Storm 0 reverse. 1, 2, 3. Toni Storm retains. 3.25 stars. A little bit above average because we've watched Toni Storm matches. We've watched Mina Shirakawa matches. They can put on 4-star matches. They can put on 5-star matches. But tonight they put on a 3. You know what? I'm going to give it a bump. 3.5-star match. But still good. Still good. And I like the ending. Oh! Woo! That ending. I didn't see it coming. Man, that makeout at the end. Wow. Nobody saw that coming. But I think just Tony... I feel like Tony just wanted to let one off or something because I think he remembers from last year or the year before when they did the lesbian storyline. But I mean, I'm not opposed to it. Anyways, next we had the match that everybody was waiting for. Anarchy in the arena. Swerve Strickland, which I liked him coming out in the Predator mask with the Predator heat reading video, Titantron name writing. That was cool. Kenny Omega and the Ops. Samoa Joe, Will Hobbs, or Powerhouse Hobbs. He goes by both names. I'm just going to call him Powerhouse Hobbs. And Katsuyori Shibata versus Death Riders and the Young Bucks. And it was supposed to be Gabe Kidd too, but Gabe Kidd got pulled out of that match, which I could see why they did what they did. I didn't like that the Young Bucks came out looking like the 1700s, coming out to Yankee Doodle. Like, no, that was like, come on. Don't be corny. They're my favorite tag team of all time, and they were kind of corny there. But the spot did work. I didn't like the music. The music was really, really, really getting annoying. And then they changed it, let the bodies hit the floor, and I was like, okay, cool. Turn off the music. I don't watch wrestling. I don't want to hear music. It's like, it feels like a movie at this point. They repeated like 6, 7 times. I was like, dude, finally they stopped it. I'm like, thank God they stopped it. That match was hellacious from start to finish. They played the full 3 minute and something seconds of the let the bodies hit the floor 6, 7 times. At one point, Omega and Yuta were at the balcony. They were fighting. Omega tosses Yuta outside off the balcony, then dives right off the balcony, and I was like, "Yo, that's a crazy spot." We had Moxley grabbing a fork, and he started forking people, like he started forking Will Hobbs. Later, way later in the match, he started forking Kenny. He was forking Joe. I was like, I guess that's his thing. What else happened? Let's see. The Young Bucks come in the ring after a little bit. Cameras go to Willow and Marina. They were outside, beating the hell out of each other outside, not even at the parking lot, like outside, like outside the back of the arena. Who else was there? There was Yuta and who? Yuta and Shibata come and then go back in. Everybody's going in the ring. It's wild. They show all four cameras. I love those spots. Um, we're seeing many of spots. We're getting the trash cans. We're getting trash can lids. We've got multiple table spots. We had chain whips. We went on to the ramp. Yeah, was it on the ramp? Yeah, we did some crazy spots on the ramp. Kenny tried to hit a spot, miss. The Young Bucks tie him up, smack him into a table. What is it? A stomp, flip, power bomb into the table. I was like, wow, these are some great spots. Uh, what else happened? Oh, the swing on Swerve got swung around by Castagnoli and went right into the what was it? Yes, the speakers. He went right into the speakers, and I was like, thank God, the music stopped. I was like, thank you. That's the moment where I was happy about that. Then we had the staple gun war where everybody was fighting for the staple, and then we ended it with, oh God, it was disgusting as hell, but Swerve Strickland got his tongue stapled. Ugh. Ugh. I was like, oh God, I wouldn't have approved. If we were talking it over, I wouldn't have approved that spot if that was me. But hey, Swerve's a different animal. Ugh. Anyway, so he still kept the staple in his mouth after that match, and I was like, oh God, you didn't. Anyways, then we had the ambulance still there, and I thought to myself, oh, okay, I see why the ambulance is coming. But before all of that, Gabe Kidd comes into the match. No, yeah, Gabe Kidd comes to the match. Gabe is helping, and we're like, there's Gabe, and then Hook returns, and you hear the commentary, it's Hook, and I was like, oh, it's Hook. So they even the odds up, and they're beating everyone up, and then when they're going near the ambulance, Mark Briscoe comes in to help out because they took out Hook, which I was like, oh God. Anyways, Hook's back. They then I loved it where the Kenny Omega, Swerve, and Ops and people company they locked Death Riders into the ambulance and they held them while Swerve and get this, Swerve and Kenny got to fight. So the Ops was holding Death Riders and Gabe Kidd hostage against the Young Bucks. And I loved one of the spots where the exploding table happened. Because first, when the exploding table happened, I was like, why are we having an exploding table for? And then commentary mentioned, Excalibur mentioned, oh, they went right into one of the loose wires. And I was like, okay, got it. Cool. I like that. I like that Swerve got spiked thumbtacks in his shoes and did a swerve stomp. 1, 2, 3. That was like a wow. So Nicholas Jackson went through the table. Matthew Jackson got the spiked swerve stomp. I'm giving this match a 4.25 stars. This was match of the night. Then we had, I don't know why, but this should have been the main event. I'm just going to say it, that should have been the main event. But hey, good luck. Seriously, good luck trying to follow that up. Because we had Takeshita, Josh Alexander, and Kyle Fletcher versus Paragons, Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong. 3 stars. But the one thing, because the match was average, at this point I was feeling a bit. I was like, average. But guess what? When Don Callis' family tried to intervene after the match because they thought they were better than Paragon because they won, guess who comes out? Tomohiro Ishii and Brody King. But that wasn't enough because they point out, holy mother of, oh my god, go Ace. It was Hiroshi Tanahashi. Oh my god, I was losing it. I was like, yo, I didn't expect this because didn't they? If anyone who saw Capital Punishment, was it Capital Punishment? No, it was whatever it was, the Chicago, Windy City Riot. There we go. That's the one. Windy City Riot, New Japan Strong Windy City Riot. They advertise it as the last time you'll ever see Tanahashi in America wrestling or just in wrestling. So I was like, I didn't expect it. I was like, holy crap, Mr. Tanahashi is here. What are we doing? President Tanahashi? I was geeking out like you can't believe it. Anybody who knows, who saw my top 10 favorite wrestlers, you know. Yeah, if you know, you know. Anyway, next we got the main event. We had Hangman Adam Page versus Will Ospreay for the men's Owen Hart Cup finals. And what a boring match to start. I'm being serious. The match to start was not your typical Hangman or Will Ospreay match. I was like, wait a minute. But then I thought to myself, maybe it could be because Will Ospreay was getting flack for what he said about the same old tired recycled shtick they do all the time. They make you do in your matches. And I was like, everyone called him out, and I'm thinking about, I was thinking to myself, maybe he's trying to tell people I don't recycle, I could do other stuff. And then I'm like, no, please go back to the way you were, please. And guess what? Halfway through, he's like, nah, I'm just gonna be me again. Bam, he flipped the switch again. And so did Hangman. Flipped the switch. You know, everybody did what they needed to do. Buckshot lariat, pin, 1, 2, 3, highlight reel top to bottom. Well, I can't really say top to bottom. Middle to bottom, highlight reel. 3.5 star match. But mistake. Mistake number 1 is Hangman won that match. I'm being serious because I told my friend when because I was texting my friend, right? Because we were texting back and forth because he was watching it, I was watching it, and we both agreed. We hope that Hangman can beat Moxley, but we're both like, he ain't winning it. Not happening. So, wrong winner. Yeah, Ospreay should have won that because then we know that Moxley is finally getting dethroned. But let's pray to God that this is Hangman's redemption and they're actually willing to put the title on him, because I don't think they will. And then I'll tell you this, because I'm recording this the next day in the morning. I just went on some of the Facebook forums and the Instagram and all of them just to see what the fans are saying. There's a lot of people agreeing that Hangman ain't winning it. So what was the point? And I'm like, please, anybody is better than Moxley at this point. Anyways, how did I think Double or Nothing went? Average. Except for Anarchy in the Arena, but average. Anyways, if you guys like these kinds of videos, you guys love wrestling, you guys love video games, and you like movie stuff, this is the channel for you. And by the way, the link's in the description. Come here. Come close. Come very close and listen to me. Listen to me very closely. The very, very first link in the description is an Instagram page that you need, and I'm going to say this carefully, you need to go click on that and you need to go subscribe to it. And I'm not saying you have to, but if there is something very, 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 very good, something big, something huge will be coming soon. Not going to say what it is, not going to say when it is, not going to give out anything except for this. You should follow that page and turn on the notification to say get all notifications so you be prepared for when this huge thing happens. You guys will know. So you better go there. Remember, the very first link in the description, you'll see it. It's an Instagram link. You will see Shogun Pro Wrestling. Click that link in the description. Go follow it. Make sure you do, so you will know when this big, massive thing that is being worked on and planning on comes to fruition. Anyways, remember, subscribe, share, like all these videos, and as always, enjoy life, keep on collecting. We'll see y'all for another video.